All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Friday, September 5th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. This is brought to you by Rogue Sports Network, and this is All in Horns. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Texas San Jose State. Not a whole lot to talk about. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yesterday, we pretty much exhausted what we thought our game plan was should be going into this game and what we would like to see. We'll probably reiterate a few of those sentiments, and then we are going to make week 2 picks really throughout all of week 2. Some decent games on the old lineup, and I thought I couldn't even put all the games I wanted to pick on our lineup just because it was already getting too lengthy as it was. So with all that being said, Jake, it's Friday. Weekend plans. I mean, obviously sitting on the couch watching more college football as much as we possibly can. I've got a high school game in Waco Conley tonight playing Lago Vista. And so it should be, a pretty decent game. Took care of your Academy Bumblebees last week, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if I let you know that.
Did you give Academy the middle finger for me at some
I
point?
did everything you instructed me to do.
Okay, good. Same thing for Lago Vista, but actually two.
Oh,
Is the instruction.
You want the double
really
bird.
Don't like. Though, ironically, Lago Vista, when I played, did have one of the best players I played against. I think he ended up playing at Baylor or something like that. He was an edge. But he was
Sean
also
Oakman.
No, that would have been much scarier, just physical wise. But he was probably the coolest guy I played against.
Oh,
ironically. Yeah. But the rest of that was fun story, Texas related. I think it was Dylan Haynes was playing for Lago Vista when I was playing. Dylan Haynes cheap shot me in the back after a play, just completely hit me as hard as he could, way after the whistle. Knocked me out of the game for a few snaps. My back was spasming like crazy and I couldn't hardly walk. So even when Dylan Haynes was at Texas, I was not a very big fan of his.
You were still held a little bit of animosity. I like that you
still do to this day.
I like that you threw in that he cheap shotted you. It wasn't a legal hit.
No, first off, he hit me in the back. Second off, it was way after the play. Film confirmed it.
Did he get called for it?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then I got a flag as I was getting walked off the field because I looked at the ref and said, "Throw the effing flag." And then I got a penalty. Then my coaches got pissed at me, so I really don't like him.
Yeah, that's more so an accountability thing on your part, Jake.
The refs needed to take some accountability. I've been fighting with the refs for a long time. It's not just over.
It's a never-ending battle,
games.
and it feels like it's a battle that will never win, unfortunately. Hey, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Texas San Jose State. There's not a ton to talk about, dude. I mean, this game should be a 40, 50-point win for the Texas Longhorns. Should have it wrapped up. Art should be sitting down on the sideline come the fourth quarter of play. I'd like to see him play the first 3 quarters, regardless of what the score is. Just, again, repetition. Need him out there to get those reps. I'd like the game plan to be pass heavy. But here are 3 things, Jake, that I would like to see. Not keys to victory, anything like that. Obviously, Texas could just probably line up in an I formation and just run down the middle and end up winning this game and call one play all game, just on a pure talent, size, strength, speed basis. That's not what I'd like to see. 3 things that I need to see from Texas. Not want to see, but need to see. I'd like to see some chemistry offensively, whether that be through the offensive line and the running game, whether that be from quarterback to wide receivers, whether that just be guys on the same page. I'd like to see some chemistry offensively and things start to look a little bit smoother. Just flat out better mechanics from Arch. See a little bit more of what we saw against ULM and Mississippi State a season ago, and not as much of what we saw against Ohio State. And then some big run plays. We talked about the explosive runs in yesterday's episode. I'd like to see a little bit of those, whether that come in the second half or the first half. I don't really care, but I'd like to see some big explosive 20-plus yard run plays from our running backs, and then just a rhythmic passing game. I don't need anything flashy. I just need Arch in rhythm with these wide receivers, hitting them in stride, and everything just look like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of what I said in yesterday's. I want to see that specifically, that short to intermediate game be on the money for Arch, and that coincides with mechanics. I want to see the offensive line get a little better at finishing their blocks and lowering their pad level. Upon kind of some later watches of Texas Ohio State, I've watched film of this game like about five or six playthroughs completely. And after watching the offensive line a little bit more closely, even since we did our level-headed reaction, I thought there's definitely some things to improve on for the offensive line. Pad level being one, very normal for early on in the year. It's I don't know what it is, but as a lineman, your pad level naturally gets lower as the season goes on. And it typically starts way too high. That was an issue for Texas at times. One specific issue I saw, and this was all of them, when they were pulling, I thought they did overall really good job of getting to their spot in blocking the guy, but they weren't doing a great job. And this was also on just down blocks as well. When you hit your guy, you need to keep your feet going. And your goal should be to drive that man into the ground and get a pancake. I thought way too often the feet stopped moving. Whether it be Connor Stroh, he definitely had an issue with that. Really was good at getting on a guy, not so good at finishing the blocks, not so good at keeping the feet moving after engaging. Brandon Baker struggled with it. Even Gooseby was not perfect with it. I thought Gooseby's hand was definitely still affecting him some in pass pro. He was getting driven back a little further than I would have expected for him. And DJ Campbell, who's supposed to be the nastiest guy out there, mindset-wise, outside of maybe Neto. Neto didn't play enough to really give him any type of reaction. I think he had like 12 snaps. But Campbell, too many times, just you engage with your guy, great. That's good, and that's why the offense was pretty successful, had very little negative plays. They weren't having bust, but you got to keep driving your feet and finish it. So I want to see a lot of that from the offensive line. And then I'll throw in a defensive one since everything's been offensive related. I just don't want to see any bust. I don't want to see them overly confident after their performance against Ohio State. I want to see them make some splash plays, whether it be interceptions, a sack, forcing a fumble, whatever it is. I want to see explosive plays from the defense, and I want to see them just not have any slacking moments. The effort needs to be the same effort level it was against Ohio State.
Hey, and that leads us into our higher-lower segment with Underdog. Jake, let's go ahead and knock that out. Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Make sure that you're playing all of their different games. They've got drafts, ladders, streaks. They've got pick'em and champions. They've got all sorts of higher, lower games and a lot of different things. So if higher, lower isn't your cup of tea, they've got other things you can go in there and play. And all you have to do is download the app today, sign up with promo code HORNS, score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Again, that is promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? And here are Jake's higher lowers for the game. Go ahead and give us a breakdown as to what your mindset is on this.
Yeah. Also, just shout out to Underdog being the first sponsor of this podcast. Fun to have them on and be able to talk about some entries you can make and stuff like this. And I really like mine. I think this, like all entries that you make, you always think that's going to be a winner. And so I love Arch Manning going higher on his longest completion being 43.5 yards or more. Have a hard time seeing them not getting a 50+ yard touchdown or at least play in this game through the passing game. I just talked about explosives for the defense. I want to see at least a couple interceptions, so higher than 1.5 interceptions. And then along with Arch Manning getting a long completion, I think that's going to go to Livingston, but also Ryan Wingo. I look for him to be heavily used in the passing game this weekend, so I love him higher than that 71.5 yard line for him.
And for me, Jake, I've got Arch Manning throwing no interceptions in this game. I think it's going to be a very clean game offensively for Texas. I think this coaching staff is really probably harping on how the offense is going to be operating in this game and throughout film and all this studying that they've done from Ohio State through the week leading up to this one. I expect a pretty clean game. I think Arch, no interceptions thrown here this in the afternoon. And then Trey Wisner, I'd like to see him break a big run, and I think he does that. And then Walker Eggett, I think he's going to struggle. I say lower on the 153.5 mark in terms of the passing game. San Jose State really struggled offensively against Central Michigan. They only put up 14 points against the Central Michigan team. I think that this is probably going to be a shutout, and Texas allows a big goose egg. Again, if they allow a break, hopefully that's what they're listening to Jake on that one. No breaks on the defense, but yeah, I like the I like my entry as well. If you like our entry, go ahead and play with us. Again, when you sign up, use promo code HORNS. And you can score your first $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5 using promo code HORNS. All right, that's going to do it. Let's go ahead and get into some other games here in week 2, Jake. Again, a pretty long list of games. A Friday night game that really jumped out to me just in terms of I like the line of it. James Madison at Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville 12.5-point favorites in that game. It's a tough one for me because I think James Madison, I don't know how, I need to look more into what they are this year just because I feel like some of that could be hype from the Signetti days.
Receiving votes.
That is true. Who did they play week 1? Looking it up real quick. Played Weber State 145-10. That's a tough one to get a judge on, to say the least. I think they were pretty decent last year. I know they had lost to, I think it was App State, but had won a good majority of the games. And they had that crazy game, that's right, last year against North Carolina where they won 70-50 in what felt like a basketball game. I think 12.5 points is a lot, though. I know a lot of people are high on Louisville. I'm still not exactly sure of what to expect of Louisville, so I think we're going to probably end up agreeing on this one. I think James Madison covers. I think Louisville probably wins, though.
I've got Louisville winning and covering. I got them 14 points. I think a 2-touchdown game. Louisville is gonna put this one away at the end of the game. But I do think that those who are taking this line for James Madison are going to be in a stressful fit at the end of the game because I think it's going to be a 1-score game going in and through the fourth quarter. I just think Louisville puts a nail in the coffin that's going to make it a 14-point game.
It'll be a fumble at the end with 1 second left. They cover.
Yeah.
And then this show doesn't happen again because I never talk to you again.
All right, Jake. Noon kickoff, an 11 o'clock game. Illinois 2.5-point favorites at Duke. Duke is a team that you and I have mentioned a couple of times in the ACC. Over/under is also set at 49.5. I would probably want to take a little bit of the under on that one, but I do think Illinois wins and covers that 2.5-point spread. I think they actually win by 10 points or so. I think they win by 2 scores.
Yeah, I was not impressed by Duke in week 1 at all. They struggled against Elon, and I'm not talking about the owner of X, the Everything app. Everything happens on X.
Yeah.
And so
SpaceX, Tesla.
Yeah, I love Illinois to cover this line easily. I will be betting this game for sure. I think they win handedly in this game.
I think that's a really low number, don't you think?
Yeah, I expected this to be 6.5, 5.5 at least.
Yeah,
that around where you're expecting them to win by a touchdown. Because I think Duke's going to get some respect just because they do have a little preseason hype going with them. But I think this is disrespect to Illinois. Honestly, I think a lot of people are just looking at Illinois being ranked high and going they're overrated, and maybe they are, but I don't think that means they can't handle Duke.
Also, until proven otherwise.
And I like the under. By the way, unders hit I think around 65% of the time week 1, if not closer to 70%. Yeah, week 1 unders in college football. We need to write ourselves a little reminder in the calendar for next year. because it's been this way for several years now, where the unders are just consistently
Yeah.
being the bet to make in week 1.
Yeah, my higher lowers struggled because I went higher on a lot of key players like Klubnik or Nussmeier or whoever, and yeah, they were all lower. So, Jake, Iowa State, one of the biggest rivalries in college football. They always play around week 2. This game's always close. I don't care if one team is really bad. I don't care if one team is really good. This and it's something always funky happens. Something weird tends to happen in these games. It's kind of Texas OU style in terms of you're always going to see something weird, like a punt return that's fumbled and then returned by the return team. It's always something goofy. But Iowa State in Ames, 3.5-point favorites with a pretty low over/under at 41.5.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game, just to be honest, because Iowa State has been a team that has really pissed me off early this season. I picked K-State. They won that. I picked South Dakota to cover. That was my special cover of the week was a joke week 1 because that game was like 55-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not touching this because at this point, if I bet Ohio State and they win or they lose if I bet Iowa State.
Yeah, you said you said Ohio State.
Oh, if I bet Iowa State and they don't get the cover, I will hate them for the rest of eternity. So but I do think Iowa State wins this game. I think they cover. Iowa's just not good at football, and I don't like watching them play football. They're not fun to watch. They scored some points in week 1 against whoever it was they played. I think it was like Albany or something like that. So yeah, if this was at Iowa, maybe it's a little closer. Honestly, I think Iowa State's pretty legit this year. Rocco Beck looks really good.
Yeah.
And them having a real quarterback, something Iowa hasn't had since ever.
Yeah.
Forever. It's been a very long time. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing them not winning this handedly just because Iowa State is a quarterback who can make plays. Iowa is going to try to kick field goals and get safeties.
Yeah, no, I've got Iowa State winning this game. Again, it's always a close game, so I'm staying away from it in terms of my financial situation touching this game. But I do think that Iowa State is going to win this game outright. Baylor SMU might be my play of the week, Jake. I think Baylor wins this game outright. SMU favored at home, 2.5 points. The over/under, not touching it, 64.5. I could see it going over, but that's such a large number that it could very easily hit the under. And so not going to even touch 64.5, but I do think Baylor wins this one outright. I think Baylor actually kind of ends up pulling away at the end of this game.
Yeah, this is a tough one because SMU played Texas A&M Commerce in week 1, so you don't really have a feel for what they are. Baylor lost their game, but they just weren't. Actually, that was a game that I think. Did you call it the same as me? I know I
said I thought Auburn was going to win that game, but I think Baylor's going to finish with a pretty good season. I just as a week 1 matchup, I thought Auburn, in terms of just being able to run the ball, establish the line of scrimmage, and win the line of scrimmage, is what gave them the advantage.
Which is exactly what happened. And I don't think SMU is going to have the size and the ability that Auburn does up front. Auburn's questions are elsewhere on their team, not the line of scrimmage. And so it makes it a tough one to call. 2.5 points is about right. You know, I would like to say Baylor bounces back because I do think Baylor's a good team this year, and it's hard to imagine them starting 0-2. But I'm going to pick SMU to win the game and
Jake,
cover.
What's funny is you and I mentioned this in our prediction episode. Baylor could start out 1-3 going in, or maybe 0-3 or 1-2 going into conference season and win the Big 12.
Yeah, well, and even start 1-3 with their first loss in conference happening because they play Arizona State for their first conference game.
Right. And they could very well start the season off 1-3, win the Big 12, and then make the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think SMU is going to be able to run the ball as well, but I also think SMU is better at quarterback than Auburn is. And I think Jennings is going to have some success in the run game. And so at this point, Baylor's got to kind of, everyone talks about Dave Aranda as a defensive mind. I will say you can't overcome being bad at the line of scrimmage if you're just outmatched in the game. And I don't think they will be as much in this game, but I got to see it from Baylor at this point defensively to believe in it.
All right, Jake, Ole Miss at Kentucky, first SEC game of the year. Ole Miss is 9.5-point favorites as road favorites against Kentucky. That over-under set at 50.5. That's, again, a number I kind of want to stay away from. But I do think Ole Miss covers that 9.5 points.
Yeah, I might just stay away from over-unders for about a week.
You just don't know.
I wait until offenses start to catch up, and then I bet some of the lines will be lower. About week 3, week 4, I bet there's going to be a really good week for overs.
I feel like this game, if I were to bet it, it would be the under because it feels like Ole Miss Kentucky's always a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I kind of do like the under in this game, to be honest. I see this like a 31-10 Ole Miss win, 31-9. 35-10, something like that. I don't see this being a close game. I think Ole Miss is a pretty good team this year. I actually think Ole Miss is kind of under the radar just because they didn't succeed to the level people expected last year.
Yeah.
But they were one win away from the playoff last year. And that Florida loss killed them. And unfortunately, they just caught Florida when Florida was playing really good football as well. And we're on the road. So, yeah, I love Ole Miss to cover this. I will be throwing some change at this game.
This was a did Kentucky beat them last year? I feel like Kentucky was one of the.
This was the loss, and also I just see Ole Miss avenging that loss because
I feel like
that was the loss that killed them.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's not going to let off the gas.
And Kentucky's worse than they were last year.
Yeah,
I think by a pretty large margin.
But again, Ole Miss had a tough schedule, but Texas did not. But then again, Ole Miss lost to Florida and Kentucky, who Texas also had on their schedule and beat.
To be fair on Florida, Texas didn't play Lagway, and Florida was playing awful at that time compared to where they were. Florida's the one where I'll give, like, if someone wants, I'm not even going to say that one.
Yeah, Texas was playing a Yale transfer in that game. Big whoop. All right. Hey, we got a great old school Big 12 rivalry renewed. Kansas at Missouri. Missouri 6.5-point favorites, just under a touchdown. I'm just glad that this game is back. I remember the days, I think it was back in 2007. Todd Reesing, Chase Daniels was the number 1, number 2 teams in the country going into one of the last weeks of the season. And
the last week.
It was the last week. Okay, yeah. And this game was College Game Day. And yes, Kansas and Missouri, number 1 and number 2. That's the kind of year that we had in 2007. But man, what a fun ride that game that season was. But glad to see that this game is back. Jake, I think Kansas covers this game, but I think Missouri wins it.
Yeah, part of me really wants to pick Kansas money line. My problem with this is you're falling in love with KU looking good against
Fresno State
and Wagner. And you're falling in love with the fact that Jalen Daniels does look like the Jalen Daniels that we've known for the majority of his career when he's played and he's healthy. My problem is the line of scrimmage is going to be much different this game for KU compared to these next 2 games, and there might be a little shell shock.
I think the defensive line of Missouri is going to cause big problems for the offensive line for Kansas.
And then I worry about what if Missouri just runs the ball at will. They have blanking on the name, the Penn State quarterback transfer that is very shifty, decent passer. Missouri might be, and they have Ahmad Hardy, I believe he was the ULM transfer, one of the better running backs. Missouri got some sneaky good players to fill spots they needed from the transfer portal.
At important positions, too.
At first, honestly, I loved the line for KU to cover. I'm going to take Missouri to cover. I think a lot of people are picking KU. I think there's going to be a lot of money on KU. I think a lot of people are overlooking Missouri. And I think Missouri's going to come out. I think they'll win this game by about 7 to 10 points, which means they're going to cover.
Yeah, no, I'm just glad that this game is back. In terms of
these out of conference rivalry games need to to be back. I realize there'll be a Tech fan in the comments being like, "Bring that back. You're not a rivalry, little buddy." So,
but yeah, Bo Prabula is who you're thinking of.
say
Good luck.
that 3 times
Yeah.
fast. Actually, just say it once.
Yeah, I struggled saying it once. All right, Texas State at UTSA. Jake, this is just a game for
66.5 over. Sorry.
Yeah.
I saw the 66.5.
66.5 is a big number for the over-under. Texas State, UTSA at UTSA, 4.5-point favorites. This might be one of the more fun games that's not just your Power 4 conference games. If that number lives up to what we could expect, we're looking at a fun shoot it out. And this is a little bit of a rivalry game. You got San Marcos, you got San Antonio. They're about 15 minutes away from one another. Jake, I just think that this is going to be a fun game. I really don't have a great feel for the line. And I mean, I could see Texas State winning this game. I could see UTSA winning by a couple scores just because of the performance that I saw them play against Texas A&M a week ago.
Yeah, we're gonna find out if maybe A&M's defense is the run game defense specifically is just atrocious because Robert Henry Jr. No, not Derrick Henry Jr. I know you're gonna think it's Derrick Henry.
He did kind of look like him with the dreadlocks.
He did.
Yeah.
And he looked like him running all over that defense. He had 16 carries, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that A&M game. Incredible game for him.
And big runs. That one was like a 55-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, I mean, that game was 21-17 at halftime. And, I mean, if you look at the box score for that game, by the way, A&M had 399 yards of offense. UTSA had 373. They were
moving the ball.
UTSA was competitive in that game.
They sure were. And a punt return changed a lot of things for Texas A&M.
But UTSA's secondary did look atrocious. Not just because it was A&M. There was people just running wide open.
Yeah.
I mean wide open. But everyone saw the throw Marcel Reed missed to I think it was Concepcion. He was just there was no one within 50 yards of him.
All-time name, by the way. I just like saying it, Concepcion.
He's a guy I wish Texas went out.
Yeah, it was a good pickup in the transfer portal for A&M.
But
sure.
So I think I like UTSA to cover this. I might ride the over in this game just for the hell of it.
Just because it'll be fun to root for it.
Just throw a couple bucks on it so I have a little bit investment because this game's going to be on my TV. It's 2:30 game, be right after the Texas game. It's a rivalry. I bet it's going to be a pretty good environment at UTSA for this game. UTSA fans are awesome. They had a lot of fans at that A&M game.
They'll pack the dome. Texas State and UTSA fans. Well, they'll pack that dome. Between the two of them, they'll be there in support. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so, but I'm going to take UTSA to cover.
Yeah, I think I've got UTSA to cover too, Jake. I want to, and you're right. Throw a couple bucks on the over for me as well. I'll join you in that party. Jake, maybe one of the more less talked about big storylines that got overshadowed in the week 1 hoopla. South Florida just dominating Boise State and basically ending Boise State's playoff hopes. But USF taking on Florida at the Swamp this weekend as 17.5-point dogs. Jake, I think I might take USF to cover that.
I think a lot of people are going to take USF to cover
and
this.
Then and if that's the case, then I could see it completely flipping on its head and Florida just dominating.
And it's tough because Florida has a lot of hype and they should be really good this year. Again, really good could be 8-4 or 9-3 for them because their schedule, by the way, looks even worse after week 1. It somehow got harder after week 1.
With Miami and LSU winning. Yeah.
Yeah, it was already looking like the hardest schedule in the country. It might be the hardest schedule in the history of college football. This one's tough. I'm not going to touch it. It's such a big line, but I could see Florida blowing them out. I'm going to say Florida covers. I don't think they put it away, though, until the fourth quarter. But I just think the line of scrimmage is going to be a bloodbath in Florida's favor. And I have a hard time seeing USF be able to overcome that. I think a lot of people also, I think there's going to be a lot of money on USF to cover. I could even see this line falling before Saturday some, and that's when I will jump on it if it falls.
Yeah.
But I like USF to win. I think I just see them winning
USF
by a
to
few
win?
touchdowns. No, Florida to win.
Okay.
I see them winning by a few touchdowns.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. No, I really want to take USF to cover. I think you know what? Just for the fun of it, I think USF loses by 17. I think they get that half point in their favor. All right. Arizona State, number 11 in the country. They are 6.5-point favorites on the road against Mississippi State. Jake, I think Mississippi State covers this game.
Yeah, I think I think Arizona State wins. They cover. I probably will bet this game. By the way, Arizona State had the cowbells out at practice.
Nice.
Just during drills. They
Love
just
it.
have trainers out there ringing them.
Just Texas Tech bell ringers just getting it.
Just they had like the water girl ringing cowbells at the offensive line drills. Like just they're ringing them everywhere so that you get used to the sound.
Only college football. God, I love college football.
It's the best. But I wasn't very impressed by Mississippi State week 1. I think they're a better team this year than last year. I don't think they're going to win many more games than they did last year. I think that
I would love to see this be a close game. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a close game, that's an indictment on the Big 12, at least early on. It was a close game last year, but Arizona State didn't catch their stride until the middle to the end of the year. And Arizona State right now should be a better team at this point right now compared to where they were week 2 last year. And so I think Mississippi State or Arizona State wins and covers.
All right, Jake. Vandy at Virginia Tech. This one a little surprising to me. Virginia Tech favorites by 1.5. I mean, it's a small spread, but Virginia Tech still favored at home. And we finally get to see Inner Sandman this year. But I think Vandy outright, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Vandy outright in this one. I think can't believe I'm about to say this. That's disrespectful to Vandy.
it kind of is.
I think it's a little bit because Virginia Tech looked competitive against South Carolina.
They look competent, yeah.
I mean, that was a close game. Virginia Tech looked like the better team in large portions of that game. But I just think Vandy's a better team. I just think Pavia's a better quarterback. I think and then them making them to underdogs. Vandy's going to feast on that all week. And Pavia's not a guy. He's proven himself at hostile environments in his career.
Also, his brother's arrested for disorderly conduct or something. What happened?
I don't know exactly what happened. I just saw the headline and was like, it's good for Vandy. They need a little edge. They're known as an all men's
goody little
school.
two-shoe. Yeah, they need some excitement on that campus.
They need a little edge to them. They're like a boring A&M in the stands. Like it's all dudes, all that stuff. But
dude, they show the student section and it's just a bunch of nerds. It's just a bunch of calculator nerds, just like sitting
it's
there.
Purdue. Like Vandy Purdue would be the all-time most boring tailgate to go to.
Well, they'd be having chess matches in the parking lot. All right, Michigan. This is probably game of the week. It's going to be College game day. Michigan at Oklahoma in Norman. You got freshman quarterback taking on a veteran quarterback, but a first-year quarterback at Oklahoma and John Mateer. 5.5-point favorites for the Sooners. Over-under set at 44.5. Pretty low scoring. In fact, I kind of like that number. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I don't think John Mateer is going to go off for 300-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, like they did against Chicago, Illinois State University,
Illinois State,
ITT Tech University, something like that, Phoenix University. But I do think that he will get enough done simply because Michigan is working with a true freshman in a hostile environment, and Norman will be too much for Bryce Underwood, and I think that's going to limit what Michigan can do offensively.
Yeah, Michigan didn't impress me week 1.
Their offense didn't look great, and it didn't look as good as I would have liked it to look.
And it wasn't Bryce Underwood being the problem.
No, he played fine. It just the offense itself. I think Shamir Moore, I don't know. I don't like I think he's a defense coordinator. I don't think he has the offensive capability.
No, I think OU covers in this game. I like the under. I don't think Michigan's going to score many points. I mean, I see this being 24-10. That's my score prediction. 24-10 Oklahoma. People are going to get probably a little overhyped on Oklahoma for this, but good. I hope they're very overhyped going into the Red River. I think the line of scrimmage is going to be a big problem for OU in this game. I don't see them being able to run the ball well. Their offensive line looked dismal against Illinois State. And that's going to be an issue for them. But John Mateer is a good quarterback, and he will make some plays regardless of what the O-line does. They have much better threats at wide receiver. They're healthy at wide receiver. I know Jaden Ott is expected to actually play in this game. He didn't really play week 1. So, yeah, I think ultimately...
Jaden Ott hurt? No way. I've never heard that one before.
And so, I don't see Michigan being able to do enough on offense, and eventually their defense will tire down.
Yeah. All right. Next game, Jake. I also have Oklahoma to cover in case I didn't make myself clear. UCLA 2.5-point favorites on the road against UNLV. I got UNLV outright in this game. I as stressful and as bad as UNLV looked in week 1, UCLA took the cake for maybe worst performance aside from North Carolina this weekend. I mean, they got steamrolled by Utah in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it's tough because I don't think UNLV's good at all. I really don't. They beat Sam Houston last week. I think it was 38-21. I think it was a pretty competitive. Actually, no, UNLV was up. Kind of had it away at half, 24-7. Sam Houston's not a good team this year at all.
No.
And obviously UNLV barely won that week 1 against Idaho State. That said, I think Nico is one of the worst quarterbacks in all of FBS football. So I'm probably not going to bet this game just because I have no confidence in UNLV. I don't think they're good. But I also think UCLA is terrible. This is a bit of a toilet bowl. And so I'll take UNLV to win, but like I said, in actual real life, I won't. I'm just not gonna. I don't need to have anything riding on this game.
No, there's no reason to. All right, and lastly, Jake, the headliner of the evening, San Jose State taking on the Texas Longhorns. Why this isn't game day, I'll never know. Texas 36.5-point favorites. Over under set at 52.5. I'm going to take Texas to cover that spread, and I'm going to take the over because I think Texas will have a 55-0 victory over the San Jose State Spartans.
Yeah, I'm going to take Texas to cover as well. I think they'll get the cover in the second half. I think in the first half, I'll be interested to see because I think Sark's going to come out and really try to iron out wrinkles, and that could mean that maybe it takes them a little bit to get going. But I think ultimately they end up covering. I think they're going to get a defensive touchdown in this game, maybe 2. I think the offense will get enough going, and they'll get the passing game going and get some explosive plays. And I mean, we've seen Arch tear up bad teams. I think this is going to be the game where Arch goes flush the Ohio State game. Yes, I'm playing against a worse defense, but I just need to be a better quarterback mechanically. And I think this will help get him back into the flow within this year, get his mechanics back. I think San Jose State will score probably in the second half against, second stringers, third stringers. I'll go 49-7. I kind of like the over too. I honestly think Texas very well could hit the over by themselves.
Yeah.
I'm just betting a little on because I'm always a little conservative with my Texas guesses because every time I get overly excited, I get disappointed.
Sure.
But I like Texas to cover, and I like the over in the game as well.
All right. There you have it. There are our picks for week 2. Follow them if you want to. Don't follow them. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But that is Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is going to do it. Enjoy your football Saturday. We're going to be giving an immediate reaction following the San Jose State game. Win, lose, or draw, we'll be right here tomorrow around 2:30-ish to record that game and get that out on the webs for you to watch and enjoy along with the rest of your Saturday. So for Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.